Namaste. Welcome to this class about smiling and feeling happy. It's fine to not always be happy, but we tend to feel so much better about life, and it's proven from research studies that the happier people are, the more resilient they are to stress, anxiety, depression. So if we can do things which lift our spirits and make us feel happier, then it's good for our overall health and well-being, and it increases our longevity. So come to sitting, and you can sit comfortably, don't have to be cross-legged, but have a nice tall spine. Relax the shoulders, have the hands supported in some way, and allow the eyes to close. And I'd like you to start by bringing your attention to your breath, breathing in and out through your nose if that's okay for you. Letting those inhales become a little deeper, letting the belly swell, the chest rise, the ribs lift out to the side, and then exhaling nice and long and slow, letting everything relax on the exhale. And I'd like you to ask yourself the question, how are you today? We often ask other people, but we rarely stop to ask ourselves, how am I feeling? And be honest and accept what the answer is. Just acknowledge where you are, and we're starting from that place. Everyone's different. But what I'd like you to do is try and think of something which makes you feel happy. So it might be something that you do that you enjoy, a friend, a person who's special to you who makes you smile, a song that you love, a place that you've been, a happy memory, anything that you would think, if I wanted to feel happy, I know what I think of. Bring that to mind. And I'd like you to let the corners of your mouth turn up into a smile, because sometimes that fake it till you make it really works. And today we're going to deliberately bring a smile to our face and see if that makes us feel better. Take some nice, deep, slow breaths into the idea of feeling happy. And it's normally not big things that make us happy. It's not often possessions or major things. It's the simple things in life. Little acts of kindness or gestures, or like I say, songs, music, little things that make us feel happy. So I'd like you to set your intention for today to try and enjoy this practice. Let it be light-hearted, and let's bring some happiness into our yoga. So repeat the affirmation to yourself. I am responsible for my own happiness. I am responsible for my own happiness. And also, when I smile, the whole world smiles with me. When I smile, the whole world smiles with me. Because when somebody smiles at you, it's very hard not to naturally smile back. So if we can go around being a little bit more smiley, not only might it make us feel better, it's going to affect those around us in a positive way. Okay, we're going to start with some simple movements, and you're welcome to keep your eyes closed for this first part. If you've been sat cross-legged and you want to change the cross of your legs, please do. So bringing the hands to relax on your thighs. I want you to take a nice deep breath in, lifting up through the crown of your head and simply dropping the right ear over to the right shoulder to start with, feeling a stretch down over the neck, over the top of the shoulder. And you can stay with that, or you can increase it a little bit. On the inhale, you can lift your right hand up. And on the exhale, let the hand gently rest on your top ear, on your left ear. And we're not pulling the head or pushing it down, but just that little bit of extra weight on top of the head might increase the sensation down the neck. If it doesn't feel nice, drop the hand back to the knee. And you can take the left hand out and explore taking it back, higher up, further down, to get a stretch in different muscles. So find a stretch which feels nice to you, and really breathing in through the tips of the fingers and out through the crown of the head, trying to lengthen away in opposite directions. And then we're going to change from this next stretch into a side stretch in the side of the body. So as we inhale, we're going to lift that right hand up, lift the left hand up, bring the right fingers down onto the floor and stretch the left fingers over the top. So keeping the gaze sideways so that upper arm is over the top ear. Breathing into the left side of the ribs. And you can choose to turn up to the upper arm or turn down to look at the ground or your hand on the ground. And see again how that changes this stretch. And give yourself a smile, either the top arm or the bottom hand. Give it a smile. And then lifting both arms up as you breathe in, bring both hands down onto the thighs, and we'll start again the other side. So just notice before we do that how one side feels. It might feel longer than the other, or just a sensation of stretch. And then nice tall spine as we breathe in. As you breathe out, dropping the left shoulder, the left ear over to the left shoulder. And taking a couple of breaths there before you do anything else, just allowing that stretch to settle into the side of the neck. Then if you want to, inhale, lifting the left arm up. Exhale, left hand comes to the right ear. And we're still trying to lengthen through the crown of the head, so almost like you're lifting the crown of the head into the arm rather than the arm or the hand pressing down on the top. And then play with that right hand, really stretching out through the fingers, moving it around to find where it feels a good stretch for you. Use those exhales to let the tension go. And then we'll change from here into a side stretch. So cartwheeling around the arms. Now that right arm is on the top, the left palm or fingers are down on the floor. Breathe into the right side of the ribs as though you could send the breath to create space between the hip and the bottom rib and all through up the rib cage, letting the head be heavy, and choose to turn your gaze up at the sky or down at the floor and take a smile. Notice if making yourself smile softens the body. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're tensing when we're concentrating, and having a smile can just ease and relax us a little bit. So stretch up on the inhale and exhale, hands come down. Good stuff. And then warming up the elbows a little bit, let's take the hands out in front of us to start with. Inhale, open the palms. Exhale, close the palms. Do that a couple of times in your own breath. And then we're going to bend the elbows, take the fingers onto the shoulders and make some movements in a cat-cow type seated posture. So as we inhale, we're going to lift the gaze, the back arches a little bit, rotate the elbows around, and as we exhale and the elbows come down and forwards, round the back, drop the head. So inhale, lift the elbows up, rotating them around. Exhale, drop the head, round the back. Couple more times, opening out the front of the chest. Lovely. And then letting the hands release, taking the feet out in front of you. And we'll do similar with the feet. So you can have the legs outstretched or the knees quite bent. And we'll inhale with the toes pointing up to the sky, flex the feet. Exhale, let the toes drop out to the side, point the feet. Inhale, flex, push through the balls of the feet and the heels. Exhale, point the feet, let them drop out to the side. And now we're going to try and bend the knees and do something similar with the legs that we did with the arms. Okay, so this class is about a little bit of silliness. I'm going to come off my blocks or I might fall over, but supporting yourself as best you can on your hands. I want you to think your knees are like your elbows, and you're going to try and take some circles with the knees to warm up the hips. Maybe bringing a cat-cow stretch if you can, and allow there to be a smile on your face. Okay, I don't think you'll find this movement in any yoga books. Good, and then bring it to stillness and come to kneeling, tabletop pose. So hands and knees, hands and shoulders, knees and hips. You're always welcome to come down to forearms if your wrists start aching. Some people like to make fists instead of having the hands spread, otherwise really separating out fingers and pressing into the floor so that you're protracting, you're not slumping through the shoulders. And get that nice long line, crown of the head and the sit bones at the bottom of the pelvis reaching away from each other. And I want you to take your right leg and stretch it out behind you. So hip height, foot flexed, push through the back heel and get length through the crown of the head to that back heel. You're going to take an inhale there with the leg stretched out. As you exhale, bring the knee forward, look towards it and really round the back up to the sky. You can point the toes. This is called a tiger cow. Inhale, take the foot out again behind you, lengthen the spine. Exhale, round the spine, bring the knee and the nose towards each other. One more time like that. Nice and slow and mindful, really hugging everything in as you breathe and take the knee and nose towards each other. And then next time you've got the legs stretched out behind you, take it out to the side and find the floor. So it's going to be coming out maybe at a right angle, maybe not quite that much. And if you can, press the sole of the foot onto the floor. And we're looking for a little bit of sensation, a little bit of stretch down the back of the leg, but it shouldn't be agony. And we're going to take a cat-cow stretch here. So inhale with a neutral spine, gaze is down at the floor. Exhale, push into the hands, round the back, drop the head for a cat stretch. Inhale, tilt the hips forward, tummy comes towards the ground, lift the heart, lift the head, and that's our cow pose. So couple more times. Exhale, rounding the back, dropping the head. Inhale, arching the back, lifting the heart, lifting the head. Good stuff. And then sweeping that right foot around behind. Bring the knees back to kneeling and you're back in your starting position, ready to do it the other side. So this time, left foot stretching back behind you. Find your balance. And then inhale, pushing through the back heel and reaching through the crown of the head. Exhale, draw the knee underneath. Really draw in all those core muscles and point your nose towards the knee. Inhale, stretching the leg out behind you, flex the foot. Exhale, hugging everything in towards the spine, really drawing the belly up to the sky. One more time, lengthening on the inhale, hugging everything in on the exhale, maybe pointing the toes there. And then take the foot out behind you, take it out to the side, and find the ground and settle again. It might not be 90 degrees, it might be different on one side to the other. As best you can, pressing the sole of the foot into the ground. Might feel then a little bit of sensation of stretch. And starting with a neutral spine, with the breath in, we're then exhaling, drawing the belly up, rounding the back, dropping the head. Inhale, tilting the pelvis forward, lifting the heart, lifting the head. And keeping going like that. Rounding the back. And arching the back. One more time. Good stuff. And then sweeping, big arc round with the back foot. And then bringing it back to kneeling. Now I'd like you to widen the knees, sink the hips back and come to child pose. So the hips come back towards the heels, the arms relax down. You might want to rotate the wrists, wriggle the fingers. Maybe the forehead comes to the floor. Maybe you bring the hands under the forehead. However you want to settle into your child pose. Some people like big toes touching, knees wide apart. Some people prefer to keep the legs more parallel to each other. And take some nice deep slow breaths into the back of the body and a little smile on the lips. This should be a relaxing posture. So if it's not comfortable for you, if I say relax into child pose, you're always welcome to do something alternative. Stay kneeling or lay on your tummy. Let the energy really come to the ground, the earth. Good. And then bringing yourself back to all fours. We're going to have a stretch of the back. So either in puppy dog or downward facing dog. For puppy dog, you'll be walking the hands forward, keeping the hips up in the air and lengthening through the back, through the crown of the head and reaching the heart down towards the floor as best you can. In downward facing dog, hands a little bit in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and bending and straightening the legs. Again, letting the heart melt down towards the floor. Release the head if you're in down dog. The upper arms should, roughly speaking, be in line with ears. And we can walk the dog, either in puppy dog or down dog, bending one knee and then pushing through the back heel of the straight leg and then swapping over. One leg bent, one leg straight, reaching through the back heel, getting a lovely lengthening down the back of the legs, those strong muscles, the hamstrings and in the calves. And then making your way forwards to a forward fold. So walking the feet towards the hands, arriving in a soft forward fold, so knees bent, little shake of the head to release the neck. And either arms can dangle or hold opposite elbows. And take some nice deep slow breaths here in your forward fold. If you ever feel dizzy or you don't like the head being below the heart, then you can keep the hands more on the thighs so that the head stays more level with the heart rather than it being lower. And then pressing down into your feet, have them hip width apart. Really press down into the floor. Keep the knees bent and you can roll up or rise up to standing nice and slow. If you want to lift the hands at the top, you can, bringing them to the heart space. Good. And then coming into a mountain pose. So our traditional base standing yoga posture, rolling the shoulders back, palms face a little forward to keep the chest lifted. And once again, bring the smile to your face. So we're going to think of this smile spreading through the body. Smiling lips, smiling collarbones, so wide collarbones, and rolling the shoulders helps that idea of space across the collarbones. Wide smiling pelvis, and the feet are that little bit wider apart rather than being right next to each other. So we've got this width all through the body. Lovely. And then we're going to warm up the hips a little bit from here, bringing the hands onto the hips, maybe take the feet even wider and bend the knees a little bit. So keep nice and relaxed. We're going to take some hip circles as though we had a hula hoop and we were doing a slow motion hula hoop around. So get some work into those knees and hips 3 or 4 times around one way, and then pause and go the other way. Good. Lovely. And then loosening up, still keep the knees bent. We're going to swing the arms. So unless there's anything going on with your shoulders, I'm going to take the left arm, swing it backwards and forwards, and your gaze can watch it. It can be small movements if this isn't good for your body, but otherwise make nice big sweepy movements, maybe lifting one heel off the ground, then the other, so turning from one way to the other, bringing that to stillness on the left, and then doing the same on the right. So getting a little bit of centrifugal force going. Again, you can be twisting the head or the gaze can stay forwards. Nice little swing. And that warms us up for our next sequence. So bringing that to stillness. This is called Breath of Joy. And it's a breathing exercise as well as getting the body warmed up. And the inhale is done in 3 stages. So it's like taking 3 sips of an inhale and 1 exhale out. And there's movements as we do that. So I'll quickly demo the movements and then we'll give it a go together, and then we don't have to stay in time. So you might go faster or slower than me. So the movements are, we start with the hands down by the sides. First part of the inhale, we take them forward. Then we take another part of the inhale, take the arms out. Third part of the inhale, we fill up fully as we lift the arms up. And then you take a forward fold in 1 exhale, out, bending the knees, dropping the energy forward, and then you start again. So up in front, side, up, down. Okay, give it a go. So in, out, in, out, and again, keep it going. So 3 parts to an inhale, 1 big sigh out for the exhale. And really letting this be like a rag doll, nice and loose and floppy. Big swings of the arms. Good for the heart, getting the aerobic energy going. And you smile while you're doing this. And you choose when to pause. You can either stop when you're standing or in a forward fold. Bringing yourself to stillness. And gradually coming back into our mountain pose. So feet come a little closer together. You can close the eyes and notice the prana. Notice any energy fizzing, tingling in the body. Perhaps the heart rate has increased, the breathing is a little labored. So notice any sensations. And then watch everything come back to equilibrium, back to stillness. And again, let that little smile play across your lips. Just notice if each time you are reminded of that, if you haven't been smiling, if you're taking it all very seriously, or if the smile is staying with you during the practice. Good stuff. So what we're going to do now is turn to the side of the mat. So take a turn to your left and take a nice big stride. And we're going to do, it's a kind of like a goddess pose, but it's called moonflower. And it's a moonflower and sunflower flow. So 2 different movements, alternating one and then the other. Have the toes turned out to the corners of your mat and you're facing the long edge of your mat. We're going to start making a star shape. So inhale, reaching the arms up into the air. As you exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, and whereas goddess pose would be here in sort of cactus or goalpost type arms, moonflower, the elbows are closer to the ribs, so it's a little bit softer. So that's the moonflower part. Then you reach up again, straight legs, straight arms, and draw a giant circle as you bow down. Okay, and you can bend the knees. So we're drawing the shape of a sunflower, let the wrists cross, and then uncross them again, stretch up, and you're ready to go again. So inhale at the top, exhale, moonflower. Inhale, stretch up, exhale, sunflower. Inhale, coming up, exhale, moonflower. Last time, inhale at the top, exhale, sunflower, come back up to the top, and bring the hands down in front of the heart to finish. Then we're going to come from here into a warrior stance. So turn your right toes to the front of your mat and bring the back toes in at a little bit of an angle. So pointing about 30 degrees, maybe 45-degree angle. And if you feel wobbly, heel toe the front foot out to the side. It might make you feel a bit more stable. Try and keep the hips turned to the wide length of your mat as best you can. And we're going to inhale and take the arms out, shoulder height, look forward down that right arm. Nice big inhale, lift the chest proudly. Exhale, bend the front knee, and you're in your warrior two. So if you need to wriggle the feet a little wider apart, ideally this front knee is directly over the front ankle. The arms stay at shoulder height, but if they get tired, bring them to the hips, and the gaze is down past the middle finger of that front hand. Now, if the lumbar spine, the back, the bottom of the back is uncomfortable, see if tucking the tailbone under and down towards the floor helps. Draw the belly up, and that little tilt in the pelvis should make it feel a little more comfortable. And press into the outside edge of your back foot, and that should give energy in the legs to kind of lift you up a little bit. We're going to transform from here into triangle pose. So nice big inhale as we straighten the front leg, and then exhale, dip the hips back and reach forward, then down. And the hand might come to the shin, it might reach to the floor, and the top hand can come up in the air or come to the hip. If it's reaching up into the air, thumb points over the head, palm faces away from you. Okay, and maybe bend that front knee, then straighten it again. See if you can roll the top shoulder back as though you're rolling back, trying to make contact on a pane of glass behind you. And triangle is all about extending in all directions. So push into the feet, lengthen out through the crown of the head, lift the bottom ribs away from the thigh, and either stretching the elbow or the top hand up into the air. Good stuff. Inhale there. Exhale, bend the front knee. Try and keep it bent. On your next inhale, lift the right hand up to the sky, palm towards you, and let the left hand find the back leg. Doesn't matter whether it's high up or really low down. And this is reverse warrior, peaceful warrior. Really tempting to straighten the front leg. So keep that front knee bent. Nice big breath here. And as you breathe out, cartwheel the hands around and frame the front foot. Turn the toes and you'll find yourself in a runner's lunge. So again, we want the front knee over the front ankle. And then we're going to play with the idea of warrior three. So if you want, if you know warrior three, you can launch from this lunge into whatever version of warrior three you like doing. If you think, I'll take it a stage at a time, then you can step forward into a forward fold, roll up to standing, and take the left foot a little behind the right foot. And shoot the arms back at the same angle as that back leg. And we're standing on the right foot to start with, and lift the toes off just a little, play with your balance. The idea of warrior three is to have a straight line between the head and the back heel. So if you're going to tilt forward, you need to lift the back leg as well. And you can flex the back foot or point it, see which helps you balance best. Try and get those hips level, really easy for the left hip to lift up. So try and keep the hips level. And then again, bring a smile onto the face while you're concentrating. And if you want to, and you know it, you can curtsy into a Shiva squat. This means bending the front leg, bringing the back knee in behind the front knee, and bringing the hands to the heart. And the toes can touch down, or you can keep this in a balance, and then play with the idea of coming back into your warrior three. However deep the bow is, or however upright you are, you can do that up to 2 times more. Or when you're ready, you can come up to standing. There's no rush. So have a play, take your time. And when you're ready, come back to mountain pose and take some nice, deep, slow breaths there. And the idea with being happy is to accept whatever is at the time. So whether that was the most fantastic balance, or whether it was the most wibbly wobbly, strange creation of a pose, it doesn't matter. You gave it a go, hopefully you enjoyed having a try, and then you let it go. And that's the way to be content, to be happy, to accept what you're given, what you can do, and then move on. So we'll try all that the other side now. I'm going to turn to the right, take a nice big stride, nice and wide, and turn your toes out, toes pointing towards the corners of the mat. Lovely. And really anchoring your energy down into the ground. We'll take our moonflower, sunflower flow. So inhale, lifting the arms, star shape. Exhale, draw energy down from the universe. Elbows bend, knees bend, and the fingers splay out. And then reaching up, draw a giant sunflower. Imagine it having a smile on its face. Bowing down, lifting up again. Knees can bend if that helps your back. And the moonflower pose. Good. Reaching up. How big or small is the face of your sunflower today? These movements needn't be as big as I'm making them. One more time through. Working with your breath. Temptation is to rush. Can you make the breath slow and the movements long, controlled? We'll finish by lifting up to the sky, bringing the hands together and coming back to hands in front of the heart. Taking some nice deep breaths there, preparing the mind for the warrior. Okay, and the warriors are really strong postures, but today I want it to be a happy warrior. So this time turning your left toes out to the front of the mat, bring the right toes in a little bit, set up in your warrior stance. And can you keep this idea of lightness as we reach the arms out, shoulder height, inhale. As you bend the front knee, exhale. Okay, and find pleasure in the strength of this pose. Again, if the shoulders are aching, take the hands to the hips. Otherwise, staring down the middle finger now of your left hand, lifting the heart, head and shoulders are above the hips. Don't be tempted to lean forward, not yet. And imagine the feet are drawing towards each other and feel how that might energize the posture, lifting you up a little bit. And then we'll try triangle. So inhale, straightening the leg. Exhale, reach forward, then down, resting lightly on the shin if you bring the fingers to the shin, either reaching up. If the arm doesn't want to reach straight up in the air, it's much better to have the hand on the hip, and then you can really work on rolling this top shoulder back, because triangle is all about opening up, and it's no good if you're lifting the top arm but you're contorted and bowing forwards. You're actually far less in the posture than if you take one of the variations that allows you to open the body more. So enjoy finding space across the heart, through the legs, and out through the crown of the head. Breathing in, breathing out, maybe bending and straightening the front leg if that helps, come more into it. And then ready for reverse warrior. Bend the front knee, lift that left arm up and the right arm finds the leg. Keep that front knee bent, looking up if the neck is good, looking up at your palm, otherwise straight ahead. Nice big inhale here. And then exhale, spinning the hands down, frame the front foot, turn the back toes. So all 10 toes are pointing towards the front. And again, this is your moment either to launch into your flying warrior, warrior 3, or step forward into a forward bend, roll up and start your warrior from standing. So completely up to you. It will be the right foot going back this time, and the toes might hover just off the ground, or they might lift up into a T shape, and try and get that one line, straight line from the crown of the head right through to that back heel. When you feel steady, you might play with that Shiva squat. Bending the front knee, bringing the back knee behind, flexing the back foot or letting the toes touch the floor. Hands might come to the heart or they might stay in whatever position you've got them in for your warrior 3. So the more you stretch the limbs out, the more I find there's a challenge on the balance. So just have a little play with what your balance and your body are offering you today. And when you're ready, come back up to standing and soak it in. So when you're ready and there's no rush, coming back to Tadasana and taking some nice deep slow breaths in mountain pose. And I find closing the eyes helps you come inwards and notice what's going on in the body. You might have generated some heat. Again, the breath, you might notice, has got a little labored or shorter. If the breath has gone up into the chest, see if you can work to get it right down deep into the lungs again. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Bring softness back into the body. And then we're going to take some squats. So I want you to take the feet a little wider again, the wider apart, maybe the easier it might be on knees and ankles. Turn the toes out. I find a little angle helps with squats. And we don't need to take these right down to the floor to get some work into the thighs. It depends how these muscles are, how set they are, to how much we're going to feel it. So maybe hands can be on the thighs, on the hips, or if you're confident, you can take your hands to the heart, totally up to you. We'll take it up and down a couple of times before we stay in our squat. Can you smile while you're doing your squats? This is the big test. So let's inhale here at the top and exhale, bend the knees, take the tailbone down, think down, lifting the chest so we're not bowing forwards too much, and then press down into the feet. Use the strength of the legs to come back up. Good. So down you go again on an exhale. Maybe you go a little lower this time. Good. Push down as you rise up. And this time I'm going to stay for 3 or 4 breaths in our squat. So choose wisely. You might be higher up with the forearms or hands on the thighs, or you might be able to drop the hips down and bring the hands to the heart. If you get there and think this was a mistake, you can always come into a forward fold to give the back of the legs a stretch out. When you feel those thighs burning, you know that you're doing it right. Getting some work into those thighs. Well done. Give me a smile. You might hate me at this moment, but smile anyway. Good. And then when you're ready, let the fingers come down to touch the ground. Stretch the hips up, straighten the legs. Heel toe the feet closer together. And maybe pedal the feet, so lifting one heel and the other, let the knees bend and the hips sway. In a forward fold, letting everything relax. So again, the head can relax. And the arms can be dangling like a rag doll. And then taking a step back with your feet, you can either take a few breaths in downward facing dog, or you could come straight to kneeling or child pose. You've got 4 or 5 breaths to decide what you want to do before we meet together in a tabletop pose. Good. And then let's come from child pose. So sink your hips back to child. And take a couple of nice deep breaths here. Really letting the hips relax back. And then we're going to slither forward onto our bellies. So sliding forward, take the legs out long. And you've got a choice here. You can stay in Sphinx pose with the chest more upright and the elbows under the shoulders, hands forward. Or if this is really uncomfortable on your lower back, you can rest down flat on the floor. And to start with, rest your left cheek on the floor, okay, if you want to rest down. What we're going to do is bend one leg at a time. I'm just going to spin around so you can see what I'm doing. So this is called resting frog. And we're going to bend our right knee and take it as high up as we can. So it might be hip height. Flex the foot so it's like a little frog leg. And breathe into any stretch that you're getting around the hip. Okay, so either up in Sphinx pose or down, resting on the ground, maybe hands in cactus position out to the side. Breathing into the hip. If you're not feeling much at all, take the knee up higher. So we're looking for a little bit of work around the groin, the thigh, the hip. Good. Like a little splattered frog. Deep breaths, releasing out tension on the exhale, and then stretching out that leg, coming back to the center, and when you're ready, bending the left knee, bringing it out to the side. Let gravity create the stretch for you, so the weight of your body is stretching out the front of the hip flexors, and you're either quite upright or lying down on your side. Right cheek down. And again, if there's not much sensation or if it goes after a few breaths, flexing the foot and lifting the knee will increase the sensation of stretch. Remembering our intention to be happy, so it shouldn't be agony. Nice, deep, slow breaths. One more time. And then straighten out the leg and rock the hips from side to side. Bringing the hands under the shoulders. Keep the elbows tucked in next to the ribs as we come through a little cobra. So rearing up, lifting the heart forward, lifting the gaze gently on the back. So the top of the back should be doing the work, not the bottom of it. And then let the knees take the strain. As you slowly round the back, drop the head. And press yourself back to kneeling, sitting. You can come back to down dog if you want to stretch out the legs after that movement. We're going to end up sitting in staff pose with the legs facing forwards. And you might want to get a cushion or some blocks so that you lift the hips up a little bit, because the next thing we're going to do is take a twist. And the more space that we've got for our legs on this twist, then the more comfortable it's going to be. We're going to do Ardha Matsyendrasana, the half Lord of Fishes posture, but there's actually lots of stages to this. So if you think your spine is not up to a lot of twisting, you don't have to do this in a really deep twist. On the other hand, it can be a really juicy squeeze of the organs and a nice twist of the spine. So we're all going to start together. Feet straight out, reaching through the heels. So heels stretching away from the hips, and the crown of the head stretching away from the hips. So 90-degree angle, hands down by your sides, maybe tented fingers or palms flat, depends how long your arms are and how much you've got to lift underneath your hips. This is our staff pose. So it's not just sitting there, we're alert, we're upright, and we're going to try and keep length in the body throughout our twist. So stage one, bending the right knee, taking the foot flat on the floor. You know that you don't want to come into a deep twist. Keep the foot here inside the knee. Otherwise, take it over the outside of the knee. And the closer you bring the foot up towards the hip, again, the tighter, the more of a squeeze you're going to get in this twist. The left leg can stay extended, straight, or you can bend the left knee and take the left foot next to the right hip. And if that happens and you're all skew-if now, then straighten out that leg again. If you've got both sit bones grounded down, you feel stable and you're not all awkward, then stay with that, okay? And then link the fingers around the front of the shin and lengthen up. So we want that space between each of the vertebrae before we start twisting them. So you can stay with the hands here and start turning towards the bent knee, or for a bigger twist, can lift the arms up into the air, nice big inhale, wrap the left arm around the right knee and take the right hand down behind the hip. Okay, and the first thing to do when you get into your twist is inhale and try and lengthen again. So you might unwind a little bit, and then exhale and spiral around into your twist, whether it's a tiny twist or a big deep twist looking over your shoulder, spiraling up from the pelvis, through the tummy, the ribs, shoulders, last of all the head. Don't strain. Take a couple more breaths here in your half Lord of the Fishes posture. Gently turning back to the front. If you've got the left leg extended, I want you to shake out both legs, straighten both legs and shake them out. If you've got the legs wrapped around each other, you might want to try this just for fun. You can take the hands down to the left side of your mat. You can push into the feet, stand up and turn around and keep turning. Walk the hands round in a big circle, keep turning till you're crossing the legs again, then sit down. And you'll find that you have the left leg crossed over the top of the right leg. If you want to start from scratch with the legs out straight, left leg is going to come over the right this time, and you get that length in the body. You decide whether that right leg stays extended or wraps around the side of the hip. Good. And then we all get length. Length in the spine. That's our starting point. You can choose to turn from here, or you can lift the arms into the sky, wrap the right arm around that left knee, and take the left hand down to the floor. Lengthen up on each inhale and twist on the exhale. So you can unwind on the inhale. Sometimes it helps. You imagine a spiral staircase. You need to step up and then you go around. From the hips, you revolve the body. head turns last. The neck is the most flexible bit, so don't strain it by overturning the neck. It's very tempting. Couple more breaths. Good. And then unwinding yourself, turn back to the front. Stretch out the legs. Coming back into our staff pose. Good stuff. If you're on a cushion or blocks, just ease yourself off that so that you're on the floor. We're about to come down to lying on the floor, so you might want to choose this opportunity to gather any socks, blankets, anything to make you more cozy and relaxation. We're not quite there yet, but this will be a good time to have it within grabbing distance. And then it's up to you whether you ease yourself down to lying on your mat or take this opportunity for a little rock and roll. So you can have the hands on the shins and you can roll back and roll up again. So lifting the legs, the feet into the air, rolling up and down, giving the back a little massage. If you don't like the idea of that or it doesn't feel nice, you can lie on your back, have the hands resting lightly on your knees, and take the knees away from the body and bring them towards the body for a little squeeze. And however you've got down to lying on your back, maybe take a little rock from side to side now to massage the lumbar area. Good stuff. And then letting the feet drop to the floor, taking a couple of breaths in and out here. And I'd like us to do an inversion, if that's okay for you. This could be shoulder stand or feet up the wall. If your tummy feels yucky and you don't want to do that, then I suggest you stay here in constructive rest where you drop the knees together. Or you could take bridge pose where we lift the hips and roll up and down. If you want to take an inversion, then either you're going to find a wall or the back of a sofa or something to shimmy over to and pop the feet up, resting the feet on the wall or the support. If you want to have a go at a half shoulder stand, I'll show you. I like to roll into it, so you've got a bit of momentum, so you might want to watch this first before giving it a go. So from sitting, you rock back onto your forearms, lift the hips into the air and put the hands underneath the back of the hips to support you. And the legs can then straighten. And we're going to keep in this V shape, this angle, rather than trying to straighten the legs up into the sky. And the neck and the heart, the chest stays quite relaxed in this position. It's not under the strain that a full shoulder stand offers. And you wriggle your hands and elbows until you feel comfy. And breathe here. So finding your inversion, whether it's this half shoulder stand, legs up the wall, maybe some form of bridge pose. You could always put a block under your hips in bridge to make it a supportive bridge if you know that option. Close your eyes and come inwards. Sometimes taking ourselves into a completely different posture can help change our point of view, how we're feeling. So any sort of inversion where we get the legs up higher than the top of the body allows the energy to come more around the heart space, around the head. You might feel some warmth come into your face because the blood, the oxygenated blood, doesn't have to work as hard as it normally does to come up into the upper body, literally turning ourselves upside down, changing the way gravity affects the circulatory system. Nice, deep, slow breaths. And when you're ready to come out from whichever pose you've chosen, bend the knees and bring them closer to the chest. If you're in this shoulder stand option, bring the forearms to the floor and use them as brakes to roll yourself slowly out. If you're at the wall, roll to one side and push yourself a little bit away from the wall. If you're in bridge or supported bridge, then ease the hips down to the floor. And we're all going to finish with a happy baby pose. So let your back be flat on the floor. Bring your knees over the chest and have a hug. And then keeping your knees bent close to the chest, take the feet so that the soles of the feet are pointing up to the ceiling. So your knees are bent. Soles of the feet facing the ceiling. And then the hands reach up, maybe grab hold of the shins, maybe the ankles, and draw your knees out and down towards your armpits. So you're widening the knees. And like a happy baby in its cot or on the floor, you can rock from side to side. You might grab hold of the sides of your feet if you can reach them. You might stretch one leg, bend the opposite knee, and have a play. So rocking and rolling. And you have to let a smile creep across your lips. It's called Ananda Balasana, so blissful baby or happy baby. And that's just what we need to be like sometimes. Easy to take ourselves all too seriously. Lovely. And then releasing the feet down to the floor. You can decide how to spend your relaxation. Stretching the legs out for Shavasana, corpse pose, letting the toes drop out to the side. Or you might want to keep the knees bent, feet nice and wide, and rest the knees together. So this constructive rest pose is also effortless. And let the palms face up to the sky. And let the eyes gently close. Make sure you're warm and settled. Have a wriggle, get comfortable. Allow the muscles to relax. And once again, I want you to let the corners of your mouth turn gently up into a relaxed smile. If there's any tension that you feel you're holding in any part of your body, send that smile to that area. So let the jaw relax a little, let the tongue be soft in the mouth. Let that smile spread across the face. So there's no frown lines between the eyebrows. The shoulders drop away from the ears. You've got that smile across the collarbones. Smile across the tummy, nice soft stomach. Smiling hips are melting and widening down onto the floor. Arms and legs are heavy. Let the support of the mat and the floor underneath you take your weight as every exhale lets you relax a little more. And this smile spreads all the way through your body. Bring it especially into the heart, all around the heart space. Let this feeling of happiness settle around the heart. And you might visualize a colored light around the heart space. Pink represents unconditional love, and green represents healing. Both colors are connected to this energy center, the heart chakra, Anahata. So again, letting the breath breathe in and out. Thinking of the heart space, breathing in spaciousness, breathing out, let any tension flow out, maybe with this beautiful colored light, however it comes to you. remembering the affirmations that we made at the beginning of the practice, I want you to say to yourself silently, I am happy and relaxed. I am happy and relaxed. And also thinking, when I smile, the whole world smiles with me. When I smile, the whole world smiles with me. And then slowly letting your inhales start to become deeper. Let the affirmations float away, any colours fade away. And start making small movements in your fingers and your toes. Start to bring energy into the body by wiggling the shoulders, maybe rocking the head from side to side. I want you to choose whether you want to stretch out or hug the knees into the chest again, and slowly, slowly make your way, rolling onto one side and resting there. And keeping the eyes closed for a moment longer if you want to. I want to again reassure you that doing things that make you feel happy, that you enjoy, isn't selfish. It's actively good for you. And it can help us to be more resilient against stress and tension and unhappiness and depression. So you need to make being happy become a habit. I want you to see if you can think of something you could do regularly, a few times a week or maybe 5 minutes a day, that would bring you joy. It might be listening to your favorite song or band. It might be getting outside for some fresh air. Maybe treating yourself to reading something that you enjoy, not something that you have to read or study, but an uplifting book. Or perhaps making sure you give somebody a call who tends to always make you feel better, lift your spirits. See if you can set that as a priority as much as doing anything else that you need to do. And then pressing yourself gently up to a seated position. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Take a lovely deep inhale into that heart space. Smile on your lips and take a bow. Bowing to the practice that we've shared. May you be happy, healthy, and well. Namaste.